will start with this presentation, but before I start, I will give you a little bit of background on why I have this presentation prepared. When I see all these new upcoming things regarding KNXL, all the new functions and all the things, I was struggling to understand this properly and how to educate this. And you know that I am mainly, from my work career, I was for many years an editor, and I'm always struggling with not consistent terminology and all the things, and also with the modeling, which is sometimes challenging to understand what all the nice features are. I try to bring a little bit light into this jungle so that we can see at the end a single plant or a single tree and not just the jungle. So I went back to the roots, and the roots are the open system interconnection model, which was developed a couple of years ago, or let's say decades ago. And everybody is knowing it. And this is the 7-layer architecture, starting from the physical layer up to the application layer. And each of these layers provide a specific functionality. This is well known. Everybody uses it for teaching services or for documentation. Everybody make reference to this. Of course, the open system interconnection model is standardized somewhere, and it is standardized in the ISO 7498 series. But I'm not sure how many people have really read this document and understood it and used that what is written in this document. And this document is mainly a framework. It doesn't specify something specific, but still the framework is needed to understand things. I just dived into the history, and the first idea was born in the mid of the 70s when I finished my university. And I learned already in those days that there is some ongoing activity. And in 1977, there was the first ISO meeting regarding a layered communication model. 1 year later, Hubert Zimmermann, who sounds very German, but is a French one, proposed a first model. 5 years later, you can imagine that this is a long time, there was 2 organizations dealing with communication modeling, and they merged their activities. This were the CCITT and the ISO. CCITT is mainly from the telecommunication industry, and ISO is more in general for the standardization body of things which are not electrical. In 1948, there was the first version published of ISO 7498. And in parallel, the other organization from the telecom industry, they published the same document as X.200. 5 years later, when there was the first systematic review, the document was splitted in different parts. The first part was still that what is in the basic, on the first edition, the basic model. And this was the last time corrected in 1996. Part 2, and already in 1989, there was a part 2 describing a security architecture, which was confirmed in 2000 and never touched again. The part 3, which specified then naming and addressing, this was withdrawn because of not relevance. Part 4 is still valid and was confirmed in 2006 and describes the management framework. I will go through some of these ideas and I will look how this fits to the CAN communication. So, just to give those which are not that familiar with the OSI reference model, the idea, what is behind that. And this is very simple. You have some information like from this tachograph, which you want to communicate to somebody else. You pack this in boxes with different functionality, and then you provide this to a server who sends this by means of any transportation. This transportation can be an electrical wire, it could be an optical wire, it could be a wireless communication, it doesn't matter. So this model fits to all kinds of communications, even to human communications. And the receiver unpacks this box by box, and at the end, he has the information he looks for. This is, for example, the tachograph information or the data. This seems to be very, very simple. But if you go in more detail, then you see that this is more abstract, solved in the ISO 7498 model.